have their next event scheduled for October 2021. And today they're bringing their community to highlight what's going on in Poland, how and why founders, investors, and also corporations, they have a special session about it, work and engage with the local startup ecosystem. I'm not going to bother you too much. I know you're coming here to learn about what's going on in Poland and hear from Infoshare. So I'm just going to call to the stage the CEO of Infoshare, Greg Borowski, who will introduce today's session. And see you at the end.
Okay, Ben, thank you very much for your introduction and invitation to host the episode dedicated to Polish startup ecosystem. My name is Greg Borowski. I'm a CEO of Infoshare. Today, together with our dear great guests, we'll be trying to convince you that Polish startup ecosystem is really booming. A few basic facts about it. In 2020, the market grew about 70%, reaching the level of almost €500 million of invested capital. The number of deals increased to over 300. In the last year, we've also noticed a few €50 million plus mega rounds, especially in Booksy and Brainly, which together with the Planner are racing towards the status of the first Polish unicorn. We should know the name of the winner even by the end of this year. More info about that will be presented by our invited guests today, Rosalia Urbanek from PFR Ventures, Artur Banach from Movens Capital, and Paulina Skrzypińska from BNP Paribas Polska. And finally, I'd like to invite you to take part in Infoshare conference in mid-October. In 2019, we gathered over 6,000 attendees, and last year online, 7,500 of registered participants. But this year, we are getting back to in-person event, and we'll be happy to see all of you here in our beautiful city of Gdańsk. More about that, we'll present to you my colleague, Agnieszka, responsible at Infoshare for startup and investor relationships. Aga will be also your host today. So thank you once again for being with us today. Agnieszka, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you, Ben, for welcoming all here in Gdańsk. Hopefully, as Greg said, we will be able to meet personally and physically here in Gdańsk soon. It's my pleasure today to be the host of a virtual stage of Polish startup ecosystem. Today we have 4 speeches. It's my pleasure also that we have in total 3 women presenting today. First will be, as Greg said, Rosalia Urbanek from PFR Ventures, presenting Polish innovation ecosystem from institutional investor perspective. Just after, we will have Artur Banach from Movens Capital, trying, hopefully successfully, to convince you that it's the golden age of Polish startup ecosystem coming. Then we will have Paulina Skrzypińska from BNP Paribas Poland, sharing with us all how they onboarded in total 16 startups using their own methodology, their own plan of onboarding startups. And last but not least, it will be me presenting you some more details on Infoshare 2021 coming this October, again back to Gdańsk. So let's start. I would like to welcome Rosalia Urbanek. We will now, of course, do a test connection, trying to check if we see and hear, we can see and hear each other, and we can also see Rosalia's presentation. Rosalia, can you hear us and see us?
Yes, I can hear you. Hello, welcome everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you. So if we can also test the presentation, if the presentation is visible for our attendees.
Okay, I guess.
Okay, so visible. Rosalia, you can start. The floor is yours.
Hi, welcome everyone. My name is Rosalia Urbanek and I'm investment director in PFR Ventures. PFR Ventures is the largest fund of funds in Central Eastern Europe investing in venture capital. I would like to present you today Polish innovation ecosystem outlook from our perspective as an institutional investor. So, as I said, we are among the biggest VC investors in Europe in terms of institution, and our current structure of the portfolio is divided into two different asset classes and fund status. Basically, we can divide it into actively investing VC funds and VC funds which are at this exit path stage, so they are after their investment period. And starting with actively investing funds, we have currently 34 VC funds in our portfolio. All from these 34 VC funds, they have already invested in at least one company. They started their investment activity on average 1.5 years ago. Some of the earliest ones started at the end of 2018, while the majority started in mid-2019. From that time, so for this 1.5 years, they invested in 142 companies, and they invested totally 0.15 billion euro out of 0.6 billion euro, which is under their management. In terms of VC funds which are after their investment period and they are working on exits, they were financed from the previous perspective around 10 years ago, and there were 18 of them. For the time being, so during their investment period, they completed investments in 2012 companies for totally 0.13 billion euro. And here is the main conclusion. Although actively investing VC funds, they invest for the shorter period of time. As for now, there are more than 50% invested in number of companies than VC funds from 10 years ago, and in the matter of value, their investment size is already higher than total amount invested in 212 companies previously. Poland is the main hub of the VC market in CE region. We are both number one in terms of number of transactions and in terms of the value of investments. In terms of number of transactions from 2013, so for the last 8 years, 1,163 companies were backed by VC funds, while the second country, Estonia, 447 companies received VC financing. So definitely Poland is number one in CE region, and of course we are very happy from this. We are still waiting for our first unicorn, as it was said during the beginning of today's session. Although during these last 2 years we have mega rounds of transactions. We have several companies which are aiming to receive the status of unicorn. Here you can see the logos of these companies and their estimated valuation based on the last round of transaction. What we are very happy from is that we as an institutional investor backed indirectly 2 companies from the top 5. So the VC funds in which we have invested, they invested in these companies. And in terms of top 6, we have backed 6 of them. And this path to have the first unicorn in Poland is also followed by the very rapid development of the Polish VC ecosystem. We can see that from its inception in 2010 till 2018, we were at very seed stage in terms of the VC financing, with the surge in 2019 and a record-breaking year in 2020, so the COVID-19 pandemic year. As I said, we started to observe in 2019 and in 2020 mega rounds of VC transactions supporting Polish companies. But what is very positive as well is that if we normalize the results of 2020 and 2019 by this mega round of transaction, we still observe a very significant growth in terms of the base of the VC investments. The number of investments is becoming also more stable since 2019. Of course, also the total number of transactions has been increasing, but what is very positive is that there are no more empty months during the year, and there are no such significant one-off peaks at the year end by additional achieving of targets by managing teams. What it means? It means that from the one side we have the supply of startups which are looking for VC financing, and so the demand from them, and from the other side we have supply of capital being available in the VC funds which decide to invest in startups. And we observe it since 2019. We've proven also 2020, which despite the COVID-19 pandemic was the record year in terms of number of VC transactions and value of VC transactions. And what is even more promising as we look for the outlook for the VC ecosystem in Poland in the future is that from the funds we created, they invested so far, I would say, around 30% of the available capital. So it means that they still have a lot of dry powder under management, which will be deployed to the market in the upcoming months. As Polish VC ecosystem is developing, we have attracted also the capital and teams from the entire world. So we have created so far over 40 VC funds. 34 of them are active VC funds investing as from now, and out of these over 30 VC funds, 14 of them are international ones. It means that their key personnel, so people managing the fund, they are coming from abroad. We have managing teams which decided fully to move to Poland, like for example Atmos. We have also international VC funds which decided to open in Poland their sub fund dedicated to Polish market, like Sunfish coming from Germany. And we have also VC funds like Finch Capital, which decided to include in their current fund a significant part of their investment strategy dedicated to CE ecosystem, including Poland. And as we are attracting as an institutional investor interest from international VC funds, we observe that also independent international VC funds decide to allocate their capital to Polish market. They start to see opportunity here. They were active, for example, in the all mega rounds in 2019 and 2020. And if we would like to discuss the source of this international capital, we would say that nearly 50% is coming from the United States, 20% is coming from the United Kingdom, and similar amount is coming from European Union. 5% is coming from Germany, and other countries is around 30%. The most active foreign funds which we see in Polish ecosystem is Ener, Finch Capital, GFC, Hoxton Ventures, Ringu Founders, and Runa Capital. As PFR Ventures, we manage totally nearly 0.6 billion euro. As for now, we allocated to VC and PE funds nearly 0.5 billion euro. We still have 0.1 billion to allocate. And as I said, we decided to invest in 41 VC and PE funds. 34 are active. The remaining are waiting for registration to start their investment activity. But in order to create this 41 funds, we reviewed more than 300 offers submitted by managing teams. It means that we are very selective. Only around 10% of received offers we decide to sign the investment agreement and to invest our capital. In total, this is 0.6 billion for innovative VC investment. And as I said, the funds which are in the market right now were invested in this 142 companies is 0.15 billion euro, which means that still there is a lot of dry powder for investments. And this is very positive news, because it means that if you are innovators, if you are looking for financing for your startup, it means that if you have proven, if you have perspective for success, you have a great chance to receive the financing from VC funds we have here in the market. So this would be all. Thank you very much. I hope that that you will enjoy the conference, and that you received, at least in such a short timing, a little bit of background of Polish VC ecosystem.
Thank you very much, Natalia. So the numbers are really impressive when you think that not so many years ago, not so far away from today, the startup ecosystem was not really existing in Poland. So I think that for anyone who is interested to scale, to look for new markets, Poland is for sure the country worth to be considered, and also for investors who are looking for new markets. Polish money, Polish support for investors also is something worth to be checked when they are planning their expansion to another country and to other countries, not only in Europe. Thank you very much. Now it's time for Artur Banach from Movens Capital, one of the Polish investment funds. Artur will show you Polish startup scene and VC ecosystem. That the Polish startup scene and VC ecosystem are finally starting to flourish. So it's the perfect time to build international tech companies here in Poland. I hope it will be a next step to confirm that we should be considered in your expansion plans. It's my message to all startups, and also when it comes to investors looking for co-investors, it's worth to consider Polish investors as partners, as one to be involved in the investments. Artur, can you hear us and see us? We can hear you. Yeah.
I can hear you. I can see you. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can see your presentation. We can see you. So the floor is yours. It's your 15 minutes to convince anyone yet not convinced that it's the golden age of Poland when it comes to the startups, investors, startup ecosystem, and all around it. What should put all eyes on Poland for next years.
So thank you very much. I'm really thrilled and honored to be here, and thank you for the introduction. And in fact, it's the major goal for me is just to go to you with that very bold statement that the golden age of Poland is coming. in terms of tech scene, but I hope you find some good argumentation about why we as a VC investor find that time very exciting, and a lot of great companies is going to come out of here. So very briefly about myself and Movens VC. So we are one of the funds that was mentioned by Rosalia. We are backed by PFR Ventures, but also by 30 plus private investors. We are early stage VC located in Warsaw with 14 million euro to get invested in early stage Polish or CE companies with global potential. And what we especially like about investing in Poland at the moment is that our focus is on AI machine learning startups, so companies that are using that technological shift to disrupt big industries, and you can observe more and more such companies here. As an investor, I was very lucky to have three investments that I could have participated, and three of them already ended up with return on investment at least 10x, which shows that this is not only great fun to invest here, but also it can be very profitable. But by heart, still I'm an entrepreneur. I started in 2000 in NetSprint, which was Polish Google, and on the top of that, with a lot of great colleagues, we have built up the AdTech ecosystem, MarTech ecosystem, and finally we gained to private equity, Dirlango and that Innova Capital. So at the top of that, at the moment when I was leaving company, there were 150 employees, around $20 million revenues. We are very active as a VC fund. We invested already in 6 companies, so that Statomi, Toki AI, VersaBox, Attention Insight, ViewStorefront, and NetHansa. 5 out of them is already using AI or machine learning to disrupt their field, their industry. 2 of them are very, ViewStorefront and Toki AI are very active on US markets, and each company has a great chance to become one of the European leader. Earlier, we invested in PackHelp, which is also, it was mentioned earlier, and is one of the Polish stars of tech scene. And so that bold statement I started with is luckily this is not something that was said in Poland. That statement is just the quote from Tim Draper, one of the most seasoned investors from Silicon Valley. And if you think about it, that like 10 years ago, no one from Silicon Valley would consider investing in Poland, and investing beyond the US was something ridiculous, in fact. And now, if such experienced persons say that it's a great time to consider investment in Poland, and it's that great technology that used to be here, now it's starting to become a marketplace. This is it means that something has changed, and the startup ecosystem is becoming very global, and we as a Polish scene can play important role here. So I don't want to get very much into details on that slide, but it was. As it was stated by earlier, the biggest value and the major reason for us as investors to support tech companies in Poland is Polish tech talent. And Obviously, this is not enough, but if you think about Central Europe as about 1 million IT developers on the market and 400,000 comes from Poland, it shows that if you have startup here and you start with 5 people or 10 people, but at some time you luckily you will need to have 100. This is why Poland can be a great place to be. The access to the tech talent is relatively easier than on more mature and more advanced markets. But the quantity is one thing, the quality is second thing, and probably even more important. So there are many ranks that shows that the Polish developers are at the top of the rank. This is the one from hackers rank, where Poland is at general rank is listed at the 3rd position. But if you look at the competences like Java, Python, Ruby on Rails, algorithms, everywhere you can find Polish developers at the very top, and this is something that is a great starting point, and it's very much linked also to our vision how to build that strong tech companies in Poland. That is, if you have tech talent and you prepare a startup for next financing round, and when they will get first traction here, then they can easily move on and become, or at least some part of them will become great successful tech companies. What is also important for us is, as taking into account our specific investment thesis, is that there is a lot of talent in the area of AI and machine learning. More and more scientists are publishing on that field. So as Rosalia showed very much in details, it's Poland and Polsce is catching up, and it's the growth is much bigger than or much faster than the rest of the Europe. And this is probably the most important or the most exciting slide to show that it's because the whole growth that is presented here is one thing, but think about it like a kind of eruption that takes place here, and but also it creates a lot of that eruption creates a lot of energy, positive energy, and a lot of great, very experienced managers or people start to think, well, this is very good moment to in my career, in my life, to start to think about great tech companies, or they are already on the path to do that. And on the left-hand side, you have that some of great examples of Polish tech companies that are listed here, and what we find as great sign that most of the founders are very eager to share their experience with less experienced colleagues. And this is very important integrant of the creating of that VC tech ecosystem in the region. And one of the most important conclusion for me about the state of the market and where we are now in the Poland is kind of analysis we made basing on the last year financing round in Poland. So if you forget about that all that mega rounds and you just think about seed rounds and Series A rounds, so the future cohort of great companies that are going to come from Poland, 10 out of 15 companies is using already AI or machine learning to disrupt very different industries. So it might be digital health, it might be robotics, it might be the document processing, it might be fintech, customer service, or clean tech, you name it. Yeah, but it's so you can see that there is a lot of great startups, and in some of them we're lucky also to invest in. So it's clear sign that that kind of companies will grow, and they are able really to compete with the peer companies on other markets. And the next thing that is also we find is very, very important in thinking about Polish market is that this is not only about Warsaw. Obviously, that hubs usually plays important roles, and Warsaw plays such a role in Poland. But if you think about the homeland of Infoshare, so Gdańsk, Gdynia, Sopot, Poznań, Wrocław, and Krakow, and the quality of the startups that were set up and are growing there. This is something really exciting for us as an investor, that you don't have to focus only on one city, and you have some diversification and some specifics for each city. And the last thing, we have to think also about not only and usually, obviously, the most of exits that we are expecting and most of VC is expecting is to strategic investors and trade sales, but IPO is kind of dream exit in many cases, and a relatively strong position of Warsaw Stock Exchange and Polish capital markets in terms of tech IPOs. Here you have the graph from the state of European tech by Atomico. It shows that the number of tech IPOs in last 5 years, and Poland has quite surprisingly high position. So it's ranked on 4th position here. It shows that if you have startup here, tech startup here, and it's going to grow, hopefully you will be listed on NASDAQ or London Stock Exchange, but Warsaw Stock Exchange in some cases also can be also a great place to for your exit. Yeah? So this is basically it. If you just have any further conclusion about it, or you would like just to discuss how to do business in Poland, just don't hesitate to reach me. I will be very happy to support you if it's possible. So thanks a lot.
Thank you very much, Artur, for your speech, and hopefully it's next proof that Poland should be on the map, on under your radar if you are thinking about scaling, about being a successful startup. And now it's time for our next speaker. I would like to welcome Paulina Skrzypińska on our virtual stage. Paulina is a Chief Innovation Officer in BNP Paribas Poland, and we'll share with you how they onboarded over 16 startups with usage of Startup Cooperation Code, which is original method for implementing startups. I would like to check if Paulina can hear us and see us. We for sure can see her. And
okay, so you see me? Do you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
We can see you. And can we check if Paulina's presentation is on? Do we have Paulina's presentation?
Is it visible or not?
No, it's not. So we need to try to maybe reload it.
Yes.
Okay, something is loading. Hopefully it's the presentation. I got the sign that everything is on. You can start the presentation. The floor for next 15 minutes is yours.
Okay, this is working, I hope. for now. So hello guys, I'm really happy I can join the event today. Unfortunately, I've got 15 minutes to tell you, let's say, our best practices.
Okay, Paulina, we have technical issues here. The presentation is back not on, so if we can try again and then check
Okay.
if we can see it, and then if you can switch between slides, so check if it's working. Maybe the problem is somewhere else. If you can change the slide, yeah, it's visible. So yeah, hopefully now it will go on properly. So again, you can start with your presentation.
Sorry for that. I've got only 15 minutes, but I will tell you what, after my presentation on the chat, I will send you a link to this kind of publication. This is Elephant Charmers. We've got it online, of course, when you will have a chance to have a deep dive on our best practices. I'm happy to be a part of the BNP Paribas group. But I used to, let's say, be a part of the startup community. I used to work for science and technology parks, incubators, various VCs and acceleration programs. I'm Chief Innovation Officer at BNP Paribas, so this is part of a large financial group. We are visible, we are in 68 countries, so it's happening a lot. We started our journey quite, let's say, late, according to different corporations here in Poland, onboarding startups. And what I wish to tell you today is to share some of our experience on onboarding startups or treating startups as vendors. So let's go further, few highlights, because this is quite important, I believe. We are lucky enough to have in our portfolio various companies. I'd say that purely fintech is around 20%. The rest is a whole bunch of different tech nice companies that are helping us, especially nicely in times of COVID. And for those who probably thought that doing startups in a bank, this is not being pragmatic, and this is a bit crazy, I believe that we showed, especially during the last year, that onboarding startups to help us with the pandemics, this is just being wise. Okay, so I will tell you about the process, our original process that we built together inside the team, our original methodology. However, I do not like this word, which means that we've got something we call startup cooperation code, or also it is called office hours. This is a simplified procurement process, just to be really blunt, that we already started out 19 times. And from that, we've got 16 implementation, 3 framework agreements, and 1 investment. And actually 2 more implementations coming, because just in the last week, we chose another 2 companies to work with us. So I'll be glad to share some of the details. I won't go into details of the startup market in here, as my colleagues before did a lot of nice job on that. So you probably know how it looks. We are not there yet as having the first Polish unicorn, but I believe we are really, really close to do so. Startup as a vendor. I won't read what's on the slides. You've got the details. You will have all of the details on the publication I will send to you. So let's say that we've got 8 banks inside and ongoing merger. So you probably feel how big a challenge is to onboard startups. Yeah, so complicated procedures, demands from the risk, IT, security, legal, and of course from the local regulator that, let's say, did not help us a few years ago to start working with the vendors. However, the opportunity appeared because we started the process of digital transformation of the group and of course of the bank in Poland. So we needed to step in and bring to life new technologies that could support our customers and help us with bringing many of our services, many of our products online to be, let's say, visible and to be easy to have by our customers. Of course, it does not mean that all of it is digital, because many of our customers, they're not using smartphones, yes, or the internet like probably we in here. So still we need to be, let's say, visible and achievable for them. So let's say that the branches will stay for at least some time, but yes, we also do, let's say, some kind of solution and some kind of innovation up there to support. And well, you probably know that this from the startup life. So basically doing innovation in corporation looks basically the same. First, you've got the big plans, but afterwards, it seems that this is not so easy. What was important for us, it was to have a buying in inside the company, just to be sure and let's say show to our colleagues inside the business that this is not an innovation theater, that bringing startups to work with us, this is being pragmatic, this is being business wise. Yeah, so this is why we try to did that. So this is a shortcut of the process. Details, of course, coming. So let's say we in some way killed the classical tender process. Yeah, so no RFI building, no trying to describe what we are looking for, because we saw that it does not work, that nice tech companies really don't want to talk to us, and we do not have the effects that we expect. So what we do, instead of, let's say, killing the paperwork, because we did that, and we started to be kind of transparent, we usually do a lot of digging inside the company. So this is more of a pull methodology. So we try to answer on the, let's say, needs of our company, and needs that are connected with the strategic pillars and with the, let's say, strategic path we are going. So for example, for the moment, we are focusing on building new products and services, coming from open banking, coming from platformization, and coming from sustainability. This is, for example, our focus. Always we check who actually has the need, how the process looks. We are fine-tuning the processes. We're checking if the, let's say, tool that we are looking for or the technology that we are looking for can be scalable. So what is also important, we are not looking for one-time shots. Yes, so this is not about having any startup just to say, hey, we've got a startup onboarded, but to have a technology that can be spread through the organization and through different bank entities that we've got inside, because BNP Paribas in Poland, this is not only the bank, this is also real estate. These are insurances, for example. Yeah, this is car fleet and many other entities with leasing and factoring that can use actually the technology. So imagine if you could support any of us, so how much possibilities you have to scale. You can. So whenever we have, let's say, clear need, yeah, clear process, optimized process, when we've got, let's say, all of the people diagnosed and find inside the company and entities that could probably need the solution, we also look what's happening inside the group. We look what our competitors do, but we treat it more like an inspiration. Yes, so we see a lot of nice technologies coming from abroad. I'd wish to have more here in Poland. However, I just really see that for some of you, the market here is too small, but I believe that we can be your door opener and maybe we could work together. Yes, in many situations, the solutions coming from the startups from the Polish market are just cheaper. Yes, that's to be fair and that's to be honest. Yeah, however, we see a lot of synergies. We work together with our colleagues inside the group. So let's say treat us as door opener to the BNP Paribas group. Scouting, as our team is, let's say, built of people that are coming from the startup community, now it's quite easy, especially we've got the numbers, we've got the effects, and we've got happy companies working with us, so it's quite easy, honestly, to do. So guys, whenever you'd wish to answer one of our calls, just look from me and my team at LinkedIn, look for the hashtag office hours, and then you will see the challenge. This is quite easy. This is usually one pager, and then this is the perfect place to talk. Office hours, this is the main part of our journey. This is the most effective and quite a wow effect of the process, because if not having the office hours, you would spend months, 12 months really, on trying to talk with different entities inside the bank. So with compliance, legal, procurement, IT security, central IT, and I have no idea with how many more. Well, I know. So this is why we make that a lot more simpler. So I have all of those people that somewhere on the road, they could say, I do not agree. I don't know anything about it. I'm not sure if I want to do this, or this is not secure. I've got all of those people diagnosed and have them, let's say, around the table. Now it's, of course, the virtual table. When we have around 6 companies, 7 sometimes, which we chose during the scouting, who present the solutions to us. And honestly, this is not the place for you to do the flashing lights. Just be honest with us and say to us how you want to support us with your solution. And each time, believe me, each time when we finish the day, and this is extremely exhausting for us, we are able to choose from 1 to 3 companies that go further through the process each time. So the process is not linear, so it does not mean that always we have the scoping workshops in the upcoming 2 weeks. It sometimes means that, well, we can have a deep dive, we're going to sign an NDA if we, for example, need to focus on data. And we need to be sure that your solution is, let's say, capable of working with that much of data that we've got inside the bank. But this is, let's say, not a must, the step. And of course, the testing, so the proof of concept. So in here, we're just, let's say, building on which, let's say, facts we're gonna say, okay, it works, we want it to work together, yeah? And only based on that, we, let's say, animate the job, and then the paperwork starts, then the checking, let's say, starts. But we've got, let's say, even the a kind of scheme of agreements, yeah? So this is much easier to adapt to a certain situation. So a few numbers again. Our first baby, Authenti, when we started to talk and we started to try to onboard them to the first process, the talks with the legal part of our bank and the security part of the bank took 12 months, yes, even before testing. So thanks to that, and of course many other cases, we built the process that, let's say, brought many of the startups to work with us. You see here Authenti, you see here Sentione, but also Booksy. So what I'm trying to say to you that today we are able to onboard the startups for us in, let's say, 6 months time. Yeah, so of course it depends on the case and the complication of a case, but this is quite easy and fast. What is also important, we are let's say we are having our head stuck everywhere in different technologies, not only on the fintech market. As you see Booksy, so probably you know the app. So this is the beauty app that you can book your hairdresser. And we had an issue of, let's say, coping with the crowds in some of the branches. We were looking for a solution that can help us with that. So yay, here it comes. And Booksy is supporting us in booking meetings in branches connected, of course, with a certain theme. We were the first bank to do it. After us, another bank did it as well. So we are happy. So amazing thing can happen, not only when touching fintech. And guys, in here, this is the publication. Of course, I will send you the link as well on the chat just in a second. And if you'd wish to have more information on how to work with us, what challenges, for example, are coming, just let me know. I'll be happy to talk to you. Agnieszka, I hope I managed to just, let's say, not be more in 15 minutes. I hope.
Yes, it was even less than 15 minutes when we think about technical problems at the beginning, but hopefully everything went perfectly okay. And now it's time to say thank you very much for your time, and to all our guests, to the audience. You know about Poland hopefully a little bit more, you know numbers, you see that the market is really growing, that we have different players involved, experienced players, so not only like newcomers are on our startup ecosystem market. So it was my pleasure to host you all, Rosalia, Artur and Paulina today, and now I'm stealing the stage for a few minutes to show you Infoshare 2021. Why? Because if you wish to start doing your business in Poland, probably it's worth to know events which are pretty important here in Poland, and it's worth to start with them when it comes to starting your operations in Poland. Okay, so I'm sure you can see and hear me. Can we have my presentation? It will be not a long presentation. Hopefully I will be able to, in a few minutes, show you Infoshare and its potential, and then go further with details. So Infoshare, as Greg at the beginning said, it is coming. Infoshare 2021. Last year was difficult, but hopefully we are back on track. And we are scheduled for mid-October, so please put these dates in your calendar so you can be with us. Hopefully, physically, we are planning to have offline event here in Gdańsk with all of you meeting each other, doing real networking, and starting business talks, again, on ground, not only around virtual tables. Pretty short overview on Infoshare on the event map. I will just give you two numbers. So we started in 2007 with 250 people. And last year, even if it was only virtual event, we got the crowd of more than 7,000 people. When it comes to the last physical event in 2019, we got more than 6,000 people. So it's probably, hopefully, the proof that it's the event where it's worth to be. It's worth to join. Among this crowd, of course, we got a lot of investors, different stage investors, public institutions, organizations working with innovations, and also private companies which are interested to look for startups, for innovation, for something new, what they can then incorporate into their companies. So what we have for startups, so the crowd which is hopefully gathered today at Startup Sesame on tour. So we have startup contests. It's seed and early stage. It's for seed and early stage projects, geography and industry agnostic. So the only deadline, the only limitation here is if you are seed or early stage startup. So somehow at the beginning of your journey with working on your MVP or MVP ready but still not tested on the market. Why it's worth to check in Infoshare startup contest? We have cash prizes. So for the first place is 20,000 euro. For the second place, it's 7,000 euro, and the third place it's 3,000 euro. Awards funded by the city of Gdańsk, our partner. So if you are among the winners, you are taking back home real money that you can spend on the product, on the team, on the office, on whatever is really needed to spend on when it comes to development of your product. Some statistics from last year to prove that it's worth to be a part of Infoshare Startup Contest. We got almost 700 applications from 50 different countries. And when it comes to the startup stage, it was almost 60% early stage startups, so those with MVP already ready, and 41, it was seed stage startups, so those who are just working on their product. Deadline for application, it's end of July, so you have still 2 months. We will open the application the beginning of June, so you will have 2 months to apply. What is important? It's free, so you do not have to pay to be part of Infoshare Startup Contest. What else we have for startups? It's of course also virtual startup booths. This year is not limited to any stage, so all stage startups can apply. It's again geography and industry agnostic, so everyone who is interested to present can get such virtual startup booth to show the product, to do the demo, to show the services, the innovative services they are offering. What else we have? We have also a 5-day matchmaking. Again, the stage is not important. It's geography and industry agnostic. Everyone can join and schedule one-on-one meetings with investors, business partners, potential clients. 3 first days before the event will be available. The matchmaking will be available in the online format, and then 2 days of the event will be both online and online event. Online and offline form, depends what is easier, more convenient for you. We have, of course, business focus stages as we are the conference. So, of course, you can get also knowledge and experience from our keynote speakers for different stage investors, from startups who are already successful on the market. And last but not least, networking opportunities. Why I'm underlining it? Because we want to do the offline event, so the real networking again would be possible. What is needed to get it all? It's Startup Pass. And what is important for this year, Startup Pass in 2021 will be free. So everyone can apply. We'll of course check if the application is from the startup, not from the software house or mature company. But if you are a startup, you just need to fill the application form. It's taking a little bit of your time, but it's not long. You can fill it in, send it to us, and then if you are a startup, you get the Startup Pass for free from us. Inside Startup Pass, there are checkbox connected with Startup Contest, Startup Expo Matchmaking, so you can choose either any of some of those services or decide that you want to use all of them. Again, registration will be open beginning of June. So let's say in 1 week, 1 week and a half, you will be able to start filling in your application form. And as we have here today, not only startups, but also investors and business interested in innovations, I will collectively name them investors, as they are investing in startups, their time, the time of their clients, their money, and then all of them are somehow investors in startups. So for them, we have also somehow startup contests, because they can get access to pretty wide and large number of different startups on early stages, but coming from different industries, also those trending ones, but also those who are kind of niche industries. And if you are looking for innovation, probably among startup contests, you can find a lot of them. What else? Just to confirm that statistics from Rare again here are confirming that startup contest is worth to be checked by investors. It's the number of applications, the number of countries they are coming from, and number of different industries they are representing. So it was 35 different industries, and among them it was health and medtech well-being, then artificial intelligence, then e-commerce and online marketplaces, then finance, banking and insurance, and last but not least, clean tech and energy. You can check that all those industries are trending industries which are really the industries important for a lot of investors. So if you are among those who are interested in those industries, then probably you can find also interesting startups for your next investments. Apart of startup contests, you can get access to virtual startup expo, so you can check startups, check their product, and based on those products which are interesting, you can also schedule matchmaking meetings, one-on-one meetings with those startups who are interesting for you, who might be your future contacts, your future investments. Business focus stages, as for investors, we have also a lot of knowledge and experience, which might be useful, especially when it's coming from more experienced investors or more experienced businesses. And networking opportunities, which again, as the event is scheduled to be offline event, hopefully we'll be able to meet with each other to discuss the future of startup ecosystem here in Poland and in the CE Europe, and also in the whole Europe. Maybe also check how the last year and also partly this year influenced the ecosystem, if it was a good change, or maybe we see some challenges in front of us. And what is needed here, you need to buy investor or executive pass, depends if you are an investor or a business representative. Both of them will be available also the beginning of June. Where to find us? www.infoshare.pl. There are all details. There will be also the registration form, the registration details on all passes. So everything what you need to apply to join Infoshare 2021. Okay, there's a time now for short movie, because I was trying to present fast all details about Infoshare and convince you that it's worth to join. But I believe that videos showing previous editions, those offline editions, which we are so much missing still now, it's the proof that it's worth to join Infoshare 2021.
We have always wanted to create a space where we could share our ideas and passions, an event that would give us easy access to worthy know-how and let us learn from experience of other people. We have always wanted to create a place where everyone can simply share. share what is worthy.
That was amazing. I'm on fire.
Okay, so it's time to say goodbye. Unfortunately, only virtually. I will just pass the floor to Ben in a minute. Just want to say, on behalf of whole Infoshare team, thank you very much for all joining us today from Poland, from anywhere you are coming today, and hopefully, really, fingers crossed that we are all safe and healthy, and we can meet physically in mid-October and start again this journey of offline conferences, offline events, gathering startup community from around the world, and meet each other not only via online tools, which are of course awesome, but we can really shake hands and really have a real networking again on the ground. So thank you very much, and I'm passing the floor to Ben, who will invite you also to next stop on Sesame on tour, travel around the globe, I should say.
That's it. Thank you. Thank you so much, Agnieszka, Infoshare, and all the speakers involved in today's event. I really enjoy learning about your plans for Infoshare upcoming edition, in particular that it will be free for startups. I hope I'll be able to attend myself in person, especially since there will be the first Polish unicorn in attendance, if I understood well. Again, thank you so much for today. You can watch the full session on our YouTube channel and our Facebook page in case you missed a part of it. Next week, we're staying in the region with a session dedicated to Latvia that will be presented by TechChill. If not yet, and you want to receive the news, you have to go to tour.sesamers.com, grab one of our free tickets to attend the upcoming sessions. And also, if you want to learn more about events in general, you are into business events, can't wait to come back to in-person, go to selected.sesamers.com and subscribe to the event guide for professionals. That's all for today. Thank you so much to the team who makes this tour possible and to French Tech for supporting us. That's all for me. I see you next week. Bye-bye.